is Delta Lou, and today we're going to be discussing the music of Mississippi Fred McDowell. This lesson and this arrangement is going to be spread out over a multiple part of series discussing finger picks, tunings, rhythms, and all the necessary components of Mississippi Fred McDowell's repertoire. That piece that I just played is much in the same vein of his style and playing. Fred McDowell's repertoire is very typical of the Mississippi Hill County region, and he explores elements in tunings of vestibule, open D, open G, and standard tuning. His repertoire is also heavily utilized with a slide, as well as some finger picking techniques, as well as some other various techniques which I will discuss. Fred McDowell was one of those artists that bridged the gap between Delta blues and electric rock and roll guitar playing. And in this three-part series I'm going to discuss everything you need to know in playing Fred McDowell's music, from country to gospel and finally to electric. In this first portion of this three-part series, I'm going to start off with talking about the basics, finger picking basics, playing an open D tuning, and sticking with his first original recordings. And I'm going to talk about licks and his approach to things, and in comparison with other artists and so forth. So this first lesson is going to be predominantly pretty simple and basic. We're going to go over some simple exercises in open D, and we're going to talk more about theory and putting things in application as you continue on from here. So we're going to look at 3 exercises and 3 songs in this part. And before we begin, I would like to take some time to talk about things you will need in order to learn this style of playing. Naturally, in playing this music, what you can do is just start with a regular guitar. I have just a basic acoustic guitar which will suffice in this matter. Starting off with a resonator or electric guitar is not suitable for this purpose at this time. This lesson we're going to be looking predominantly at finger picking patterns and theory, so the nature of the guitar doesn't really matter what you have here. Now, in playing this music, I always like to emphasize and stress playing with plastic finger picks, predominantly with a thumb pick, which is very important because when you strike the strings with a thumb pick, the strings resonate with a more crisper and resolute sound as you play like an accompanying bass pattern in a finger picking arrangement and so forth. And the index finger is going to be doing a lot of the brunt work, playing chords, licks, and strumming, and you'll see the interrelationship between the thumb and the index finger as the lesson progresses. But that is something that I like to emphasize in great detail, is the importance of playing with finger picks. So for that part in matter, that's all you really need in this lesson, is finger picks and the actual guitar itself. And in this first part, we're going to play in open D tuning. Most of our learning is going to be performed in open D vestibule tuning, and this is a tuning that Fred McDowell used the most in his repertoire. I would say that 75% of his entire catalog is played in open D tuning. And once we learn a few numbers, you'll be able to hear it by ear as you listen to other songs in his LP, and you'll be able to pinpoint noticeable characteristic licks that are performed in this tuning. Now, it is imperative that we start off this lesson with open D because it transitions into what I would like to teach you as far as these finger picking exercise will go. So let's tune the guitar to each other. Right now I've tuned up to a tuner and I'm in open D tuning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play each individual strings, the pitch and the tone by itself, and I want you to match the pitch on your end. So get your guitar ready, and I'm going to start off with playing the top D string. This next string is the 5th string, is A. And this 4th string is a D. This 3rd string is an F sharp. My 2nd string is an A. And my bottom string is a D. So we're in open D tuning. Okay. Now there are several styles that Mississippi Fred McDowell uses, or several different approaches in playing slide and in playing regular licks. Now he seems to do something like a hybrid of both components. He uses very smooth and flowing country patterns, like I'll play an example here. I'll play something here, it'll be like this. Let me think of a song here. I'll play something like this. There'll be some songs where he's playing a very country pattern, and then there'll be songs where he's implementing this kind of brisk delta dead thumb techniques, pure delta blues techniques like this, like in 61 Highway. So his repertoire and his range really is expansive. So I want to touch upon each one of his approaches. And even when he gets into the slide numbers, he uses a combination of the two. Like this rolling country to this brisk strokes. And his repertoire is like a combination of the two. So we're going to look at exercises that focus on both of those kinds of exercises. Okay, and in prelude to what we're going to discuss, I also would like to talk about the right hand position on your guitar. Now, I usually have the right hand draped like this, drape the arm like this, and then do like a shadow puppet figure here. Your arm's going to run diagonally across the guitar board like this, and your hand is going to be doing this kind of puppet motion. Okay, and the thumb, the outer lining of the hand, the right thumb, the palm of your hand, the outer lining, right below your right thumb is going to be hovered and nestled above the 6th string. And position it like this, where the thumb is free and positioned above the 6th string. And you want to dampen that 6th string just with the outer lining of your right thumb. And your thumb's going to be positioned here, and your index finger is going to be just resting here, kind of doing like this claw motion, pinching together. The right hand's resting like this, and the index finger is going to be ready to strike whatever at your command. And in Delta blues music is going to be a lot of this pinching together, this interrelationship between the right thumb and the index finger. And that's going to make a lot of sense when we go over some of the exercises here. But once again, it's imperative that we get that down. And the index finger is going to play a big role as we continue on here. So I've talked about having a guitar, we've tuned together, we've got the finger picks, and we've got the right hand technique straddled here. But again, it's also how comfortable you feel about how your right hand strikes the strings. But I play in this pinching motion, and that's going to show up here in the exercise that we're going to be looking at. So I want you to go ahead and pull out the first exercise that I have for you, and we're going to be going over finger picking patterns. Now this is not going to be necessarily over a song, this is just going to be a series of exercises over simple chords and particular chord shapings in open D tuning, vestibule tuning, so that you could get familiar and comfortable with getting that motion together. This portion of the exercise is going to be focusing on this rolling country, this kind of mechanical way of playing the guitar, where it's almost like an automatic machine. 1, 2, and just this rolling loop. And that's what I want to focus on here in this exercise. So please identify it, and we'll take a break here. Okay, so the first exercise that we're gonna be looking at is just playing a number of chords and open strings, utilizing a finger picking pattern that's more in the vein of country style Piedmont rolling picking arrangements. And the first exercise, this first pattern, is going to be a series of 6 notes, and it's going to sound like this. When it goes faster, it'll sound like this. Eventually you want to pick up the speed, and that will be something that you progress on in your own time. But that is what we want to do here. Now, initially I had stated how important it was to get the right hand technique and getting in that position, because in the right hand, the right hand is going to have that thumb nestled over the 6th string, and your thumb this time is going to be hovered above the 5th string, and your index finger is going to be playing whatever notes will be on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string. And as you play this first cycle of 6 notes, you're going to be playing like a combination of double stops, playing 2 strings at the same time. And that's, again, is emphasizing pinching together and so forth, and that's what I was indicating when that first part of this lesson is pinching together, and the thumb being positioned here in the 6th and the 5th string to strike the agreeing bass accompaniment. So this first succession of 6 notes is going to be the very most basic component of this finger picking style, right? And what we're going to do is I'm going to go here slowly. It's going to be 6 notes, and the first note here, and I'll just break it down really slowly, is going to be this double stop. So your right hand is positioned as such, and with this double stop you're going to play the 5th string with the thumb, and the index finger is going to play the bottom string open. That's the first note in this series of 6 notes. So this is note number 1. And then the next string, the next note, is just going to be played the 2nd string open with the index finger. Okay? And then the 3rd note in this succession is going to be the 5th string open. So the first 3 notes will be 1, 2, 3. Double stop, index finger, thumb. And then with the 4th note, it will be the bottom string open. So the first 4 notes will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're incorporating the double stop, which is very important, and then index finger, thumb, and index finger. And those are the first 4 notes. So again, to reiterate, the first 4 notes will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. You can follow along with the tablature. And then we're going to cap off this 6 series of notes by playing the 2nd string open again with the index finger, and then ending it with a open string on the 5th string open. So essentially you have an 8th note, being that first 4 notes are an 8th note, and then there's 2 quarter notes at the end to make up these 6 note arrangement. So all together it's going to sound like this: 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And notice what the index finger is doing is playing these individual strings on the 1st and 2nd string. And that's what the index finger is going to be doing as you approach this music. The index finger is going to be taking care of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings usually, and the thumb is going to be concentrating on the 6th, 5th, and sometimes the 4th string. And it's this interrelationship. The thumb is taking care of this top of the guitar, top of the strings, and the index finger is working on the bottom 3 strings. And it's in that interrelationship where you get this agreement, and makes up the very core components of his repertoire. And what I like about this exercise is that it strengthens the memory in your right hand. So I'm going to play this 6 notes again real slowly, and I need you to master this, and then we'll gradually play it faster, and you'll hear that it makes this kind of mechanical, there's like a mechanical component to it as you gradually build up the speed. So really slowly I'm going to play the 6 notes, and then starting from a countdown: 1, 2, 3, 4. So try to follow along and build the memory. Gradually you're going to build the speed, and it'll be like this. And the thumb, notice how the outer lining of the right thumb is almost palm muting above the 5th string. That's its position. You want to almost kind of palm mute it as you get comfortable with speed. So whereas initially I started off the lesson just by going like this, you want to gradually transition into this mechanical click, which will build with speed. eventually want to get faster and faster as you go. Obviously, you know, you're not going to be getting it that fast. That comes with time, but it's important that you get the wheels rolling on this particular exercise. And what I like about finger picking techniques, it's like, think about it as taking a stroll down a sidewalk. It's this free-flowing kind of approach to playing country picking. So it'll be like just walking down the street. You know, you can think about it in that regard. So hopefully that should be enough. Notice that all of the strings being played on the 5th string are going to be played with a thumb, and the index finger is going to be taking care of the 1st and 2nd string. That's all you got to know. And it's just this interrelationship between the thumb and the index finger and its position, pinching together, is so imperative, and it's so crucial in continuing on. So as you learn this open chord technique, what you want to do is, as you look onto the tablature, you want to start, as you start getting familiar with this, you're going to play notes with the left hand. You're going to identify the 12th fret bottom string, and you're just going to finger that by itself and apply the same finger picking arrangement, this time by fingering over the 12th fret bottom string. So in this next 6 notes, this structure that I've built, you're going to play something like this. Or if you want to just play a chord, finger or bar the bottom 3 strings of the 12th fret and just play the same arrangement again. You know what I mean? It's entirely up to you. And as you kind of play around with that, you can go to the 5th and 7th fret, and I've got that laid out as well, just playing the bottom string 5th fret. Apply the same finger picking arrangement. Then go to the 7th fret. You know what I mean? Play around. Bar whole frets. It's ultimately up to you to explore, but it's imperative that you keep utilizing this same sequence of open strums that I discussed. Remember, originally we were focusing on this 6-note structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep that intact, keep that progression intact, and just explore across the neckboard. You can bar full chords, so you would identify the 5th fret here and just put that finger picking structure, those 6 notes, onto that. Then go to the 7th fret. Eventually and gradually you want to build the speed up, and you will get there. So I'll go really slow.